Good day, good people. My name is Kabasekwele, and I'm an online math tutor here to help young children turn their struggles into their successes. In today's video, I will be sharing with you the remedial plan that I use to help children that are struggling in mathematics. I'm going to try and help parents see how they can help their own kids, and it is specific to children that are in upper elementary to middle school, but honestly, this plan works for anyone, whether you're in high school or you're in elementary school, as long as you do the work. So let's go ahead and talk about what the plan is. Before you remedy anything, you need to know what you are remedying. So your first step is to assess your child, because once your child has been assessed, you can then see what the problem areas are. You can assess them using tests, which is my personal favorite, but you can also assess them by asking them a series of questions. You don't have to use a test. I just use tests because they really help me to see exactly what the problems are. But if you don't have access to tests, then you really don't have to use one. Simply ask them a series of questions that'll help you identify what the main issues are. Start by asking them broad questions such as what are the areas that you're most uncomfortable with? Is it fractions, measurements? Then once you hone in and you see where their problem actually is, then you can ask them more specific questions about those areas. Specific questions such as, do you have problems with calculating, or do you have problems with understanding the concept? Do you have problems with word problems? Or do you have problems with solving a sum? If you can't figure out what the problems are by means of questions, then simply go to your child's teacher and ask for a few copies of past tests that they completed, or you can ask for exams that they've completed, just to see what are the actual issues. Is it fractions? Is it measurements? What is the actual problem that your child is having? If your child is being homeschooled, then simply go to their dashboard. Most homeschools have a place somewhere in their dashboard where you can see what percentages they're getting in each and every area of mathematics. Okay, so now that you know what to remedy by means of assessments and questions and tests, now you can move on to the actual remedy plan. Just remember though that your plan does not have to go in line with what your child is doing at school. For example, if they're dealing with fractions, you don't necessarily have to be working with fractions at that time. I always create a plan that is separate to what they're doing in school, because it helps me be more productive, it helps us be more focused, and we get a lot done in a short space of time. In my plan, I create time frames for each and every concept or area that the child is struggling with. So we could be dealing with fractions for a month, and then the next month we're going to deal with measurements, whatever the case may be, but the plan helps me to be more productive, and it just helps us to be more focused overall. Whereas if you're going with what the school is doing, you may end up lagging behind. But don't get me wrong, you can still go with what they're doing in school. Some parents prefer to do that, and that is perfectly fine. Whatever works for you, your schedule, and your child's needs. So however you decide to pace your plan, make sure that each and every concept that you deal with, you focus on teaching them the principles about that concept, not just the methods about solving the problems in that concept. I genuinely cannot stress this enough. If you want to constantly keep creating remedial plans, skip this step. But if you just want to do this once or twice for your child, then focus on teaching them math principles, not ways of solving math problems. A math principle is the foundational reasoning for different methods and different calculations. So it is the reason behind the method. When you teach your child math principles, they can reason on them. Therefore, they can come up with their own methods, or at least they can understand what are the reasons for the methods that they come across in school. Why did the teacher teach us to solve a specific problem this way instead of this way? If you teach your child math principles, they can reason on them. And you want your child to reason on their own. You don't want to constantly have to spoon feed them ways of doing things. And that's what math principles help with. Let's say, for example, your child is struggling with variables. A good principle to teach your child in variables is that a variable is a number. It's just a number that we do not know yet. Once they have that principle fixed in mind, they'll know how to better deal with variables in the future when they're calculating or when they're trying to solve a variable. Once you remind them that you need to treat a variable the same way you would treat a number, they know how to better deal with it. Therefore, you have less work to do because you don't constantly have to show them step-by-step methods of dealing with variables. That's just a rough example, but I hope it drives the point that once they understand a principle, they know how to better deal with an area in math, as opposed to just being spoon-fed step-by-step instructions of solving things. Now, in order for you to teach principles, you need to know principles. So parents, please do your research. It is easier for you to come up with principles because you're more advanced in your reasoning. So if you do take a few minutes out in the day just to research some of these concepts that you plan on helping your child with and finding the principles, not just the methods, the principles in your research, it will be much better than just focusing on teaching them the method. It is much more effective for you to find them yourself and teach them to your child, as opposed to you teaching them calculations, because in the long run, it's just going to be a waste of time in the long run. Now, like I said, as a parent, you are more advanced in your reasoning, so finding these principles will take less time. So just do your research and give your child these principles. And once they have these principles, the rest will fall into place. Everything else that they learn in class is going to make more sense. Everything else that they see in their textbooks is going to make more sense, simply because you gave them this one golden nugget, which is a principle. Okay, so I just shared a lot with you, so I'm quickly going to summarize everything that I've shared with you in this video. First of all, parents, assess your kids. Assess what the issues are so you know what to deal with. Next, figure out if you will be going in line with what their school is doing or whether you're going to create a plan separate from the school's schedule. If you do create a plan that is separate, time block each concept. Create time frames for each and every concept. And in each concept that you work on, focus on teaching your child the math principles behind each area, as opposed to focusing on teaching them math calculations and methods. And like I said, this is not a short-term solution. I hate quick fixes because quick fixes do not work. If you focus on something that is long-term, the benefits will be long-term. So focus on a remedial plan that benefits your child in the long run. Parents, I really hope this was helpful. If you still need a bit more help in figuring out how to help your child improve their grades, I do have a free guide right down below in the description for you. I've linked it there, and it is entitled The 3 Areas That Your Child May Be Struggling With. The 3 areas that may be blocking your child from getting the grades that they deserve, and how you, as a parent, can help them conquer each and every one. That guide is brilliant because it pinpoints exactly what many children are struggling with each and every year, but also gives you practical steps in helping them. If you are looking for an independent math tutor, my name is Kabo Sekwele, and I am an online math tutor, so please feel free to go down to my website and schedule a free consultation with me. I cannot wait to meet you. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.